It's another weekend on Leafhollow, which only means that things are about to get cozy. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Yugi, and I'm your average casual player, so if you like this energy, hang back and subscribe. But great news, I finally unlocked custom paths. So I've been eyeing this path for quite a while now, it feels like, and I'm excited to finally use it. It's by Lily, who's just an amazing creator, so I'm going to link her code and her channel below so you can check it out and use it for yourself. But essentially, this is the area that we're going to be working with today. So really, today's video has one goal in mind. We are integrating Blather's museum with the whole forestcore theme, so it can really feels like the island is just getting cozier and a lot more interesting. So let's just start with clearing out, getting things out of the way. And to be honest with you, I kind of scouted this area for my museum around the same time I was doing the campsite. And how it really happened was, as I was doing the campsite, I was running down here to steal the cedar trees. And in true Animal Crossing fashion, the more I stole trees, the more I started noticing that this small plot of land had a lot of promise. And as I was running back and forth from my campsite, I thought, I think the museum would just look really nice here. So in all of my games, I've always kind of put the museum at the very back of my island, kind of on a hill. The reason is because I love the architecture that the museum is, and I kind of wish we had a lot more spaces like it in the game. But being how it is, I just love integrating it with like a more uphill foresty look, just because of how nice and it all looks together. And also I just love that it's raining right now on my game, because it just adds to the mood that we're going for a lot more. So in doing all of that, I had no other idea of what I was going to do with this space. I placed Blather's museum here. I knew I needed trees, and the rest I was about to find out. So when I started working on this, and this is what you see happening, I'm just figuring it out. And I did kind of place a few things around strategically to just get a sense of how things are gonna go. For instance, I placed a tree at the back because I knew I wanted paths in front of the museum. I knew I wanted some trees to the left and a little nook on the right that's more of like a cozy in forest area, but beyond that I had no idea. So I started recording. Yeah, that was about it. So you're about to figure it out with me. I have to erase the paths I started with, mainly because it wasn't lining up. So I don't like it when the path is one straight line and it goes to a building. I like to have a little bit of like extra pathing that comes out of it, kind of like what I'm doing here, that leads to where I want it to lead. So I'm moving things around again. I'm placing down a tree because ideally I wanted to line either side of the museum with trees, but that wouldn't work because I have houses on the other side, and the goal of having the houses where they are right now, they are right in front of the hill, is because I wanted it to look like a little neighborhood, and then you just see trees coming up from the top because there's a hill / mountain at the back, and that's where the neighbors live. So the lining up either side of the entrance with trees was not gonna work because I need that back area, well front actually, of where my museum is to kind of look like it's a bit more foresty, it's a bit more dense with trees. So that's what we're working with. Alright, so I finished placing down my path, and can somebody tell me why it looks like a big question mark right now? Maybe it's all just meant to add to the charm. Alright, so for this little area right here, I wanted it to look like a little cozy spot where people can sit kind of in the middle of a forest. So the idea is more like if you go on a hike, and sometimes on hikes you will stumble upon like these little corners that just looks like very cozy, like you could stop and have a picnic. This is what I wanted this to be. So I have this river that kind of starts from that little area. So my idea was to kind of curve the path a little bit around that bit that connects it to the trees and the cozy corner. I'm calling it my cozy corner. The thing is, I've never really done those curved paths before, and I'm trying it for the first time with my entrance and this part. So I'm trying my best to figure out how to curve those paths. So if you have any hints on how you've done it before, feel free to share. I could use some pointers, but I think I'm doing pretty good. I tried a few things. That's how it started. I tried a few ways, and I think I've settled on like this may be the best way to connect it all. Alright, so I'm connecting both paths. I debated having them not connect at all, but I think I would rather it connects because I would like to do something with that little corner that's on the other side of the tree from the museum's entrance, but I don't know what yet. I just knew I want something there. I want it to look like the space is being occupied as much as it can. So just finishing up adding the paths, and while I'm doing this, I'm trying to think of where I can put trees. So for the game itself, I still want some areas of the water to be accessible, because again, when you fish in the game, you need those little areas, you need those little access to get the fish. So I don't want to fully block it, because then it's going to frustrate me when I can't reach that spot for the fish. So that's one thing. But the other thing now is I still want it to look like it's all looking very dense, because I don't want it to look like it's just like the side of the road with some trees. It has to look like a forest, so it has to feel like you have trees coming from all sides. So I'm just really trying with it. The other thing that has enabled me building those themed spaces, really struggle with my words there, is I've been hard at work collecting items to add to those spaces, because while I know just the trees and place strategically makes quite a difference, I feel like just having those little items add a little bit of something extra to those spaces. So I've been hard at work all week, looking on Facebook, looking at Animal Crossing groups, keeping up to what people are saying, and just finding giveaways. Giveaways has been a major help, because as you know, my island so far, it's in its early stages. I don't even have all my villages yet. I've been getting a few new ones though, so I'll show you later. But I don't even have terraforming, so there's a lot I don't have access to yet, and I just really want to be able to make this build happen. So honestly, I have been very grateful to the Animal Crossing community, and I think I'm saying this in all my videos now, and the reason is because they really are so nice. And once again, for instance, you're looking at those mush stools, well, mush logs in this frame, and I was only able to get this because it was a donation from Teresa from Naples. I'm inserting her picture now. So yeah, so thank you so much. And these are what has enabled me to be able to continue with these builds, because I'm getting items and it's just adding to the spaces. So thank you so much. The other thing is I placed this shed here because one, I feel like it can be quite interesting. I think in the future I would like to try and customize the color of it to make it match more, But I like the idea of the shed here on this island because it's kind of between the trees. It's in between the museum and the campsite. And why I really need it right now is because out of collecting all these elements I've been talking about, I somehow completely ran out of space. So I ran out of space completely at my house. There is no space in storage to put anything else. And my pockets are almost full. And at this point I don't want to sell anything. It's mainly full because of plants and trees, and I can't put them down until I plant them. So I'm a bit of crossroads. So I'm having this be here so it's easy to access the things I need from my house, the little stools, the mushroom items and all of that, without having to run back every time, and also just so I don't have to struggle with storage so much. I can quickly swap a few things from my pocket and to the little shed to my house. So that's what we're doing. It's been interesting because before restarting this island I put hundreds of hours into this game, and maybe that speaks about the level of decorating I was doing before. My previous island was very normcore. I'm so sad I lost it, but it was called Moonacre because I based it on one of my favorite movies as a child, which was The Secret of Moonacre. Anyway, in this one, though, I don't have space left anymore, and I don't know how because it never happened to me before. Has this happened to you guys before? Like, do you run out of space? Because I've also learned that you also have a limit on how much you can place down on the island, and with the amount of trees I'm trying to put everywhere, I hope it doesn't come to that, but we can only see. Alright, so I was placing holes everywhere because I'm trying to space where I want the trees to go, and by the time I was playing this, I had to wait for Nook's Cranny to be open. I don't have Leaf yet to buy those trees from, although I know Leaf sells them for like half the price, but it's okay. So for now, I'm placing down the trees. So since I'm doing mainly cedar trees, I'm buying them from Nook's Crannies. I'm not really buying flowers anymore. I was doing it at first for my entrance, but not for this one, because I think I've come to this point where I've changed my mind about the flowers. At first I wanted it to be red and yellow flowers because I thought, oh, it's very like kind of like the middle ground is orange, it's very fall, but now I feel like it's too summery. But also I like that most of the time I'm playing this game, and it may be because of the season I'm playing it in. It's always been cloudy and rainy and dark, and I love it. So now I realize, you know what looks great in those? It's those white flowers. So I think I would like to find just a whole bunch of like white flowers, maybe even green flowers. I've debated the idea of green mums. I haven't seen them on my island, but I think that's what I'm going to be on the lookout for when it comes to flowers. Anything white, but also green mums, because I think white and green flowers would make it interesting with all the trees. So I do want contrast, but I feel like the red is too much. I feel like I can still include the yellow, but the red is starting to look like too much. But I'll get to that eventually. I think the flowers can wait until the island's starting to look a little bit more like it's coming together, and then I can make those changes. I think also the reason why I don't want red flowers anymore is because with all those trees it's gonna be looking a bit dark in between. I think maybe it's because like I've been playing at night and I've been playing when it's raining or cloudy, so it's not very bright and sunny, so it feels like the red are just too dark and I need the brightness. Also, it's now a new day and I wanted to check on the progress of my trees because I just wanted to know that they're growing, There was a few things that I placed. For instance, this one right here didn't grow, so I need to move them. And I also really wanted to try having the little half-grown cedar trees. I wanted to try something, but essentially I've been seeing a lot of people have it, like the half-grown cedar trees. I don't know if they have it look that way forever, or if it's just if the day the filming happens to be like when the tree isn't fully grown. But I wanted to explore how to do that, and I had an idea. I thought, well, if I take like a tree that's not fully grown, so it's kind of still the nursery plant, and I put it in a spot where the tree doesn't grow, maybe that's how you do it. But then I quickly realized that it just doesn't work for some reason. So the game still doesn't allow me to just plant a tree that's like grown a little in a spot where trees don't grow, because yeah, it says there's no space for it. So I was a bit heartbroken at that point. Took me a while to figure out what to do instead with this pot, so just decided RIP, I'm just gonna put down a flower right there, and that's gonna be it, because I don't want to put down the nursery cedar tree again down there. It's not gonna grow and I can make use of it elsewhere. So little flower it is for the pond we knew couldn't grow, so that's what we have. Alright, so I'm putting my trees back down. There's no reason to take them out now, it's not gonna work, so I'm placing them back down. I think I'm also going to move that other tree just because I would like it to grow. So that other tree, I decided to not continue the path around it just because it can look like a separate little spot. I abandoned some flowers here that I don't know when I picked up, but I somehow did. So there's that. I'm putting down the tree, and I think then it's kind of like a little secret spot you go into and you can access the shed. You don't really need to, but yeah. Again, like I've been saying, I think I'm going to be adding more things eventually, adapting, because right now I'm making those spaces based on the furniture, the pieces, the elements I have. So if I get new things and I feel like they might be more appropriate, I will bring them. Alright, so what you're about to see is me placing a tree in this spot that I know is not gonna grow. But there's a reason for it, so don't worry about it. Because, like I said earlier, I have those houses right in front, and my goal was to have it look like the trees are growing on top. And I eventually want to terraform that area to add some more land, make it come as close as they can to the houses, then those trees can grow. Because there's a little spot where it does have the land and it grows, so I'm like, I'm just gonna leave it there for now, and eventually that's gonna remind me to terraform that little area and add the land so the tree can also grow as well. So that's gonna be planning for the future. Alright, so at this point I'm trying to figure out what to do with this spot. Like, I've been running back and forth. I was thinking maybe some log stakes. I'm sorry, my mouth just went completely, just gave up on me right there. Alright, so I'm putting the log stakes, but trying to play with the angle so it looks a bit different. Maybe a flower next to it, because you're really gonna see the right side of it. I think I'm gonna have that bamboo tree growing right in front of it, so I want it to look like it's hiding a bit of the entrance, but enough so you can see what's going on. I just love the rainy days in this game. It's so cozy. It looks like it's pouring. My character doesn't have an umbrella yet. I can afford it, but it's more that I don't have the space for it, so I can't afford to carry extra things with me everywhere. I'm actually debating keeping some of my tools in my shed or in my house, but right, I forgot I don't have the space for it. So that's what's going on. I think I also eventually need to do a house upgrade so I can put more things in my house. But right now I am not focused on my house. That's why it's in the middle of the woods, which kind of fits the theme, but I will get to that eventually. Okay, so I ran to see Tom Nook at the resident services, and I'm placing down incline. So this is the first set of incline to go on my island, and now we have it. So just have to wait one more day and the incline will be ready. So with that though, my paths don't line up once more, which I think works a little better. I needed to make it a little bit slimmer, so I'm taking it out and readjusting how it looks. So it looks like it's coming right from the incline, it's leading you there, and then you run and you get to the museum. So let's just place those down real quick. And nope, not on my face. Let's put it on the floor. So I think I'm getting pretty good at figuring out these inclines and how to make it all work together and play with the different angles. So I'm very, very happy about that. I'm trying to think what else I need to do. Oh, I still need to do a little bit more with that little corner, and then I need to add some more at the back. I keep forgetting the back of this area just because I don't see it. Most of the time when I'm playing, I forget about it because the game kind of like does, it's out of range anyway. So yeah, so I do want to make it a little bit denser. I'm thinking maybe eventually if I wait and I add some more trees. And okay, the other thing I just thought of that I think would really be cool is adding gyroids. So I kind of had this on my previous island. If you want to know what happened to my previous island and why I restarted, that's a whole story. But it is now a few days in the future, and fortunately or unfortunately, my second attempt at posting this video. So my last video, well, my last footage was unfortunately compromised and I lost all of it, and the part I was salvaged was only partly. So whatever you've seen up to now is what I managed to save from the original file. So, you know, maybe this is for the better. I am now deciding to do a new little ending to this video, so you get to see truly how we ended Blather's museum, but nestled in a forest. And also, if you haven't seen it, check out my flag. I made it myself, which is why it kind of looks like a toddler made it. Alright, and you know, since this is a bonus to the ending of my video, here, this is Kiki. She is currently my favorite island resident, so I love her and she always knows how to say the best things in the best moment. Alright, so I am going to now take you to my Blather's museum, to my museum, yes. And you kind of get to see a little bit of the parts of the island here that I haven't touched yet, and the parts that I really want to touch. So everything that I have decorated so far is my favorite part, and you can tell because that's where you see the cedar trees, and everything that is not is what you will get to see us work on. So let me show you a little bit of my map before we continue, because I want to show you where we really are. So my house is at the top right corner of my island, and Blather's museum is at the top left, right next to my campsite, of course, that we worked on in the previous video, that I still need to put on the path for. My airport is at the bottom, and kind of super close to my airport, of course, is resident services, and it's in the middle of Nooks and the Tailors. So when you come to my museum site, you first come on the first ever incline or staircase of my island, and you also have a little mush stool that you can sit on and a little birdhouse nest. And then you get to walk in where we kind of grew a little bit of pumpkins, and you know, it's fall, we needed pumpkins. And we adorn our entrance with some party arch lights. I may have mixed up how you say it, but it's kind of there. Alright, so and then you continue and we have a little bit of a plaza bench where any visitors can sit outside, take a break from the long walk it's gonna be in our very furnished museum. I have those mush logs here. I really love them. They are some of my favorite items. I think I'm loving all the mushroom related items so far. And another little mush stool where anybody can take a seat and enjoy nature. Now let me take you to our little hidden spot. So if you go behind those two trees, we have a little shed here where for me I can easily access anything I need for my house to further decorate the island. But for anybody else, it's just a nice little shed. And it's right next to my campsite, of course, so eventually I'm gonna probably put another set of incline right there so anybody can go up and go directly to the campsite. So one thing I had an idea of doing is eventually I want to add gyroids in my forest, kind of like in the spaces I have, just because I did that once before in my previous island. And yes, before I was interrupted, I was trying to tell you what happened to my previous island, but I sold my old Switch, and of course I had backed up everything that was on it, but when I tried to restart the game on a new Switch, I couldn't have it, of course, so that's just what happened there. But it's okay, because now I'm doing something new and something hopefully better. Alright, so I have these two little trees here, which of course I'm going to grow, but that's until I get my terraforming and I can add more land in front of it, and that's gonna be a nice backdrop for the house that is in front. So this is now finally the end to this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm very glad I got to show you what we did with the campsite after all. As usual, if you like this video, please give it a like. This one was particularly had a lot of bumps in the road, but I'll see you guys next time. Bye, and also subscribe if you like my content. Bye.